Hey everybody, welcome to the Addiction Unlimited podcast, where you get to learn everything you want to know about addiction and recovery. I'm your host, Angela Pugh, co-founder of Kansas City Recovery, life coach, and recovering alcoholic. To learn more about me, you can listen to episode 0 on your podcast app or find us on the web at addictionunlimited.com. Hello, my friends. Welcome to episode number 144 of the Addiction Unlimited podcast. I'm your coach, Angela Pugh. So happy you're here spending some time with me today. Super grateful. We are finally in this new year. And, my sober birthday is at the beginning of the year. It's January 7th. And I'm really excited about that. We've been talking about this in some of my groups with some of my clients, kind of all the things that go on when you have a sober birthday. I have several people celebrating a year that have been working with me for a year, and a lot of sober birthdays coming up. And I think even for me this far in, I still get a little strange around my sober birthday because, when I got sober, when we decide to get sober and enter a new lifestyle and a recovery lifestyle, obviously we're not doing that because things are going well. There is a lot of turmoil and usually sadness and humiliation and guilt and shame. There are so many things happening. Even if you don't have a major rock bottom moment like I did, you're not deciding to give up booze because you're doing it well and it's working for you, right? So there's a lot of things to think about. And I think when we come up on these milestones, I know for me, for sure, I think about how broken I was in that time, before I entered this life, before I entirely changed myself and I got this opportunity to grow up and had all of these amazing people teach me how to grow up and be a better human. I think about the brokenness and the sadness that I had, and it was just a really horrible, depressing existence. And I cannot express to you how grateful I am every moment, really, and certainly around my sober birthday, how grateful I am to be out of that life. And I hope you're feeling that way too, especially as we go into this new year. There's already been a lot of conversation with people in our Facebook groups about being committed to change this time and what that's going to look like and how we're going to do things differently. I know you need things to be different this time. You have to change something or you're going to wreck everything, right? So this is a really important time. And I want to start you guys off really thinking about the new year, even if you're not struggling to maintain your sobriety, but you're in that next level where it's more about life stuff and really making some good changes in your life. If you're stable in your sobriety and feeling good about sobriety, comfortable in recovery, and you're looking forward to what you want to work on next, we're going to talk about happiness by elimination, the process of elimination, how to achieve happiness and kind of get to that next place you want to be by removing things from your life rather than adding things to your life. I also, before we dig into that, want to let you know we're doing the 5-day Go Dry Challenge for Dry January. If you want to jump in that, you can sign up at myrecoverytoolbox.com/5day. That's the number 5, DAY, /5day. You can get in there. It starts on January 11th. And if you're listening to this after January 11th, you can still join, right? Because it has its own Facebook group. It's a pop-up group, so it's only going to exist during the challenge. But all the videos will be in there, worksheets, all of that stuff. So even if you're listening to this after the 11th, you can still jump in and join that. myrecoverytoolbox.com/5 day. And then for those of you that have been on the wait list for the membership, after the 5-day challenge, the Sober Society membership will open briefly for new people to join also. So that's your opportunity to jump in there. Now, let's get into this topic, this happiness by subtraction process of elimination. One thing I want to start with is I want to play this snippet for you of Matthew Mcconaughey in a talk he did. He is an amazing speaker, and any of you that have done my Mindset Makeover video series, he's in a couple of the videos I share with you during that Mindset Makeover. And that's a totally free 5-day a video every day to your inbox. But I want to play this snippet for you because this is exactly what we're talking about, and this is what I want you to think about.
It is just as important where we are not as it is where we are. Look, the first step that leads to our identity in life is usually not, I know who I am. I know who I am. That's not the first step. The first step's usually, I know who I am not. Process of elimination. Defining ourselves by what we are not is the first step that leads us to really knowing who we are. You know that group of friends that you hang out with that they really might not bring out the best in you? You know, they gossip too much, or they're kind of shady. They really aren't going to be there for you in a pinch. Or how about that bar that we keep going to that we always seem to have the worst hangover from? Or that computer screen, right? That computer screen that keeps giving us an excuse not to get out of the house and engage with the world and get some real human interaction. Or how about that food that we keep eating? The stuff that tastes so good going down, it makes us feel like crap the next week, and we feel lethargic and we keep putting on weight. Well, those people, those places, those things, stop giving them your time and energy. Just don't go there. I mean, put them down. And when you do this, when you do put them down, when you quit going there, and you quit giving them your time, you inadvertently find yourself spending more time and in more places that are healthy for you, that bring you more joy. Why? Because you just eliminated the who's, the where's, the what's, and the when's that were keeping you from your identity. Look, trust me, too many options, I promise you this, too many options will make a tyrant of us all. All right, so get rid of the excess, the wasted time. Decrease your options. And if you do this, you will have accidentally, almost innocently, put in front of you what is important to you by process of elimination.
How about that? I love this thought process, and this is so much what I think about when I'm thinking about changes that I want to make, or when I'm thinking about if my anxiety is extra high, or I'm feeling uncertain, which I guess is anxiety too, right? But this is what I think about, like, what are there things in my life that are causing me more anxiety and discomfort and dis-ease? And this is people, places, and things. We talk about this in 12-step programs a lot. And again, when you want to change something, when you want something in your life to be different, then you have to do things differently. And oftentimes that's going to mean making decisions differently. It's going to mean different people, different places, different things. Have you ever thought about it this way? About removing things that don't serve you rather than adding more things? I think we have a tendency to add more things, like we're always in this quest for happiness, and it's about stuff and things and wanting to add things to distract us, right? And I'm all about distraction, especially in the throes of a craving or high anxiety or when you're super upset. I think in those moments, one of the best things you can do is kind of distract yourself until some of that emotion comes down, and then you can figure out really how to cope with it. And oftentimes, that quest for happiness is more about removing things that aren't serving us. And that's really what I want to get into, and some changes that I did in 2020 that made a big difference for me. And just food for thought, some things that you can think about. Again, especially going into this new year, this fresh, new perspective, the next version of you that you're going to build, the next level of your sobriety, your life, your relationships. I want you to think about some of the things that you can take out of your life that just don't serve you well. One of the first things that I really started to cut down on in the beginning of coronavirus was news and negative information. And this isn't just about coronavirus, but also this all kind of plays together, but also the political part of everything the last few years has just been super toxic and weird and divisive. And I don't like divisive anyway, so I don't like to play into that. But news just got super overwhelming to me. Now, obviously, I check in. We have a lot of really important things going on right now. I'm not telling you I live under a rock and I don't pay attention to anything. I'm telling you I'm very careful and intentional about what I choose to pay attention to and listen to and how often I do that. And I'm a news junkie. I really do like news. I like facts. I like research. I'm a nerd. So I love that stuff. But in the beginning of coronavirus, it just got so overwhelming. And it was so sad. And my anxiety was getting out of control, just listening to it day in and day out. And I had to make the decision to kind of step away from it. I also live in a city with a fair amount of violent crime. So it's hard to watch even local news because, again, it's so doom and gloom, right? This person got shot here. This dead body was found here. Like, I just don't want my days inundated with that information. Again, especially as a person with anxiety. I can be pretty sensitive to that stuff. So for me, I have to be mindful of how much I invited in my life. This isn't about ignorance or being ignorant, right? Which means not having information. Ignorant does not mean you're dumb. It just means not having information or not having the right information, whatever. I don't want to be ignorant. I also don't want to be inundated with negativity and doom and gloom. So I have to be mindful of that. Another thing I did was reduced my social media time. Social media is like this double-edged sword. On one hand, it is so much fun. It's so fun, especially as a podcaster. It's so fun to get the opportunity to really interact with you guys, right? Like, it's not just nameless, faceless people listening to the podcast. Like, I actually get to know you because of social media. If you're in the Facebook group, we interact, we exchange messages. That's awesome. I love that piece of it. I also love it to keep track of family who lives far away, right? I can see my cousin's kids who live in different states, and I love all of that. Social media also can be really controversial, negative, again, divisive. And some people really like to fight. I know a couple of people like this too, that love to post things on social media specifically to get people fired up. That's not really my kind of person anyway. That's not really who I want to be around because that's just not my thing. Conflict is not my thing. I don't mind disagreeing. I don't mind that at all. I don't mind intelligent conversation and learning about a different point of view. I love all of that. I love information. But I don't like to fight and argue. I don't like people who incite that, which oddly enough is a lot of what the media is based on, right? They need these headlines. They have to incite a certain emotion inside of you to get you to continue listening or to click on the article to read it. That's what they need. So it has to be somewhat inflammatory oftentimes to get your attention. So I had to get mindful about this with social media. The other part of that is not only do I not want all the fighting and arguing and people trying to shove their opinions down my throat, the other part of it is there's this comparison tendency that we have, right? We like to compare ourselves to the other people, and people will post their pictures of their outfits and the restaurants they're in and the vacations they're taking and their perfect kids and perfect families and homes and cars, all this stuff. And people have a tendency to compare their lives with the pictures of other people's lives. And also inaccurate, because what we have a tendency to do is think, oh, I'm not good enough, or I'm not working hard enough. I'm not doing a good enough job because I haven't achieved what these people have achieved. I don't have that house. I can't afford to take that vacation, whatever. And you internalize it as an emotional thing. And what you're doing is comparing your insides and how you feel on your inside to how those people are portraying their outsides, right? You don't know that those people are happy just because they have stuff. You don't know that somebody is happy because their outfit is fantastic. I mean, listen, a good outfit will definitely help you feel better. There's no question. That's proven science, by the way. But we compare our insides to other people's outsides. And that's also not healthy, because it makes you feel bad. I don't want to do things that make me feel bad about myself or my life. I want to do just the opposite. So I want to follow people who are positive, who are educators and innovators and teachers and all of those things, because that's what I like. You got to figure out what you like and what makes you feel bad. And if something doesn't make you feel good, if it's not adding to your life, reduce it, just like I reduced my social media. Another thing I think is funny about this is I have so many people, I cannot tell you how many times in a week I have people tell me I don't have time. And I'm not a believer in the words I don't have time, because I don't have time really means I don't want to. It's not important enough to me. I don't want to. And I always use this example with your cell phone. I understand we're all busy, right? I work 6 million hours a week. I get it. And I have a family, and I have a personal life, and I work on my fitness. Like, we're all busy, right? There's nothing innovative about being busy. Everybody's busy. But I promise you, if you dropped your cell phone right now and it broke, like where you couldn't even turn it on, all of a sudden you would have time to go to the cell phone store, because it's important to you. So I don't believe in the words I don't have time. And I really catch myself on this too, because it's such an easy thing to throw out, oh, I don't have time. But the truth is, like, I got to catch myself and go, wait a minute, do I really not have time, or do I really not want to? And let's just be honest about that. So we get into this I don't have time trap. And I hear people also talk about all the things they want to do. So you talk about all the things you want to do, maybe traveling, reading more books, maybe exercise, maybe learn a language or spend more time with your family. All these things you want to do, but in the next sentence you say, I don't have time. Yet research shows the average person spends almost 2.5 hours every day checking social media. So do you really not have time to do the things that are important to you? Because we all seem to have plenty of time to be on Facebook and Instagram and whatever else is out there. Who knows? I can't even keep up anymore. We seem to have plenty of time to do that. So think about that. Do you really not have time? Or, you know me, I got to check myself on lazy. So often I'm just being lazy. And it's okay to be lazy sometimes too, but know what your intent is and be honest with where you really are. Do you really not have time, or are you just not making time? Is it just not that important to you? Do you really not have time because you're spending 2 hours a day checking Facebook and Instagram, or do you legitimately not have time? I reduced my social media to be more intentional. I definitely have muted some of my friends that are inflammatory or negative or mean. Like some people are just mean on social media. Like, I have no desire to be a part of that. I don't want any part of it. So I mute them. I love them. I love having them as friends, but I mute them so I don't see their posts because I just don't want to. The next thing I want to talk about is the 80-20 rule. 20% of cause creates 80% of effect. Meaning like 20% of your life causes 80% of your stress. Or, 20% of your friends cause 80% of your anxiety. And figure out what is that 20% of things. I love the majority of my family. I love being around them and spending time with them. I got 20% of my family, maybe it's a little tough. So I have them in my life in limited doses. If there are certain activities or commitments or people that don't make you feel good, then it's okay to have some boundaries and decrease the amount of time that you're around those people. Listen, there are plenty of people that don't want to be around me all the damn time either. It's okay. For some people, I am best served in small doses, and that's all right. We're all that way. But just by removing a couple of things that cause a significant amount of your discomfort or anxiety, just by removing a couple of things can help you in a huge way. It can bring you a ton of relief. And you know that quote that I love by Jim Rohn, you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. This is so true, even with your friends, your family, coworkers, whatever you're trying to do in your life, right? As I've really been working the past year on food and fitness, it doesn't serve me to hang out with people who still want to eat fast food every meal and all those things. Like, we're just not in the same place anymore, right? I am outgrowing that lifestyle. I don't have any problem with that lifestyle. I love junk food. I love fast food. But for me, my quest changed to wanting to be healthier and serve my body and be better to my body because I've abused it for so many years. I want to be good to it, especially going into this second half of my life. I want to take care of myself. I don't want to be riddled with health issues. So I want to be around people mostly who feel the same way, who when they say, let's go get something to eat, we're on the same plane. We want to go get the same kind of food. We don't want to hit the drive-through. You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. If you're surrounded with negative, unhappy, gossipy people, they will bring you down. And what I really want you to do in this is make sure you aren't being the negative, unhappy, gossipy person. Because we can't control what other people do, right? I can control my environment and what I bring into my environment, but I also don't want to be the negative aspect in somebody else's environment. So check yourself. Are you being negative, unhappy, gossipy, unkind, any of those things? And see if you need to maybe cut down your time with certain people and have certain people in small doses. And this isn't about blaming other people for you not feeling good, right? That's not what I'm saying at all. That is not what I'm saying at all. But we love to hang out with like-minded people, and we like to be around people who are like us. And for me, when I want to be different, like I said, in my fitness and food journey, when I want to be different, I have to do things differently. And that means I have to bring different people in my life with a different mindset whose goals are similar to my goals. It doesn't mean I drop all my people and have all new friends. It doesn't mean that at all. It means I get intentional about where I'm spending my time and my energy. And try using that 80-20 rule. Which 20% of your friends or your family are causing 80% of your discomfort or self-doubt or anxiety or anger. When you can find the sources of the negativity and discomfort, then you can create the boundaries to protect yourself. This is another thing I want you to consider, like going into this new year when you're really thinking about what your intentions are going to be and what you want to focus on and what is your word for 2021. We've had some incredible conversation in the Facebook groups about your word for 2021. I told you in a podcast, a couple of podcasts ago probably, my word for 2021 is execution. I want to start things and follow through to finish because that's something I can struggle with. So that's my word, is execute. Like, we're doing this thing. We're not just starting it, but we're finishing it, whatever it is. execute. So what's your word? And I want you to think about this aspect of fun, because this is a stumbling point for people when they're walking into this new life being alcohol free. Everybody's afraid they're not going to have fun anymore. I was afraid that I wouldn't be funny. That was my biggest fear. I was like, oh my gosh, what if I'm only funny because I'm drunk? What if I'm super lame when I'm sober? And I am kind of lame. There's no doubt. Like, I'm a pretty boring person. I'm an introvert. I'm a homebody. I am a reader, writer, researcher. I live in my brain. I love my brain and I love feeding it as much information as possible. And that equates for some people as kind of lame. And I'm okay with that, because I really like me. But think about this aspect of fun and what that looks like. Is it really fun to have a hangover? Is it fun to be fighting with your family and your friends because you overdrank and acted a little crazy or foolish? Is it fun to be in debt because drinking, or because you're drinking, you're being irresponsible, not paying bills, using your credit card too much? Is it fun to wake up and not remember everything you did and said? Is it fun having to apologize to everybody because you don't remember the things you did and said? None of those things sound fun to me. Yet we equate this idea of fun with being drunk, when being drunk is not that much fun. Like, being drunk and living a drinking lifestyle caused me an enormous amount of heartache. And there were a lot of things I sacrificed that I didn't even understand I was sacrificing in honor of having a drinking lifestyle and being a drunk. I gave up a lot of things that I didn't know. I gave up a whole decade of my life that I didn't do anything or accomplish anything because my commitment was to drinking and a drinking lifestyle and having quote unquote fun. So I want you to really think about, what is fun? What is fun going to look like for you this year? Because a hangover is not fun to me. The I'm sorry tour that I had to make with my friends and family, that's not fun. Feeling embarrassed because of my behavior is not fun. The breakdown of my self-esteem was not fun. So when you get fearful about not having quote unquote fun, I want you to think about what that really is and get honest about fun. And what will fun look like for you in 2021? How will you create fun that is sober fun? And what do you need to eliminate from your life that isn't fun? Right? What things aren't serving you? That's what I really want you to think about. People, places, things. Where are you going that does not feel good to you, that you would rather not go? And not work, because we all have to work, right? But if you really don't like your work, maybe that's something you think about making a change there. If it really makes you unhappy and it's an energy drain and you dread it, maybe that's something you need to think about in 2021, making a change there and putting a plan together and getting a strategy to do something that makes you happier. But I want you to think about, what are the things in your life that aren't serving you and making you happy? What are the things that aren't making you better and feel better, that aren't making you feel excited? And let's start eliminating those things. Process of elimination. Happiness by subtraction. I don't know about you, but I am so excited for 2021 because I feel like there's some light at the end of the tunnel, like hopefully we're going to start getting back to something that resembles a normal life. Whatever that's going to look like. I mean, I think it's going to be a while before we're really back to normal, but we definitely have some light at the end of the tunnel, and that is so exciting to me. And all the things we have to look forward to is so exciting to me. And having a fresh new start in our lives, in our perspective, in our recovery, this is all great stuff. And don't forget to jump in the 5-day Go Dry Challenge if you want to get in that. It is for every level of sobriety. I don't care if you have 1 day or 10 years. This is going to be a fun challenge. We're going to build a blueprint for your recovery that you can continue to work on, that gives you the basic foundational things to build your recovery lifestyle from. And it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm going to go live every day in our pop-up Facebook group. The pop-up Facebook group opens on January 7th, which is my sober birthday. And I'll start sending all the emails to everybody on the wait list on the 7th. If you're not on the list, get on the list. myrecoverytoolbox.com/5-day. And then be thinking about your intentions, because the next event that's coming up is our webinar to set your New Year intentions. And we'll start talking about that in a couple of weeks. I hope you're having a fantastic day. If you got a ton of great information out of this episode or found it helpful, please take a minute and share it with somebody. Be service-minded. If you think this information will help another person, share this episode with them. Have a fantastic day. I will see you next week.
You've reached the end of another great episode of the Addiction Unlimited podcast. Candid and honest conversation about addiction and recovery. Be sure to visit us at addictionunlimited.com to join the conversation and access show notes and links to everything we talked about. Love this episode? Please take 30 seconds to subscribe, rate, and review on iTunes to help us improve and give you the information you want. Thanks for listening. See you next week.